Hey guys, welcome back to the His and Hers the Truth podcast.
Yes.
This is my feminine wife.
Hi, Sim. Welcome back to our channel.
Yep, trying to use different, obviously, value
Uh
descriptions this time instead of just beautiful. But she is
huh.
beautiful, guys. But hey, guys, while you're here, please subscribe to the channel, right? You
hmm
guys know, obviously, this content, any RP, but specifically the truth.
Yep.
You start talking about truths about men or women, it gets hella suppressed. So, guys, do us this huge
hmm
favor and push us out in the algorithm.
Yep.
Share, obviously, watch the video first and then
Yep.
share and comment at the end. We love all the comments, and for
hmm
sure, we'll make another live or reaction video to your
To the
comments
comments.
because we love answering and reacting to them.
Yep.
And of course, guys, smash that like button,
Boom.
right? Quit shadow watching, right?
No more shadow
Yeah,
watching.
share, spread the truth,
hmm
debunk the lies,
Yep.
okay? And one of the things I want to talk about, guys, on this video
hmm
is because there's been this huge, I guess, debate in the manosphere recently.
hmm
But obviously, I always want to bring it back to our Asian brothers and sisters, right, and how it
Yeah.
relates to us as Asians, Asian Americans.
hmm
But there's been this huge debate and huge topic about what is a high value man.
Okay.
And I've watched some of those videos, and shout out to those guys, right? Shout out to Fresh and Fit. Shout out to Rolo Tomasi, right?
hmm
Shout out to Sneeko, Destiny, Andrew Tate, right? And all these guys that are part of this Manosphere RP community. But I will be honest with you guys, they have not defined fully
hmm
what a high value man is. And then
Yep.
also, why? Why is a high value man
Why?
necessary, or what are those values for? And I think that's such a huge part of what is missing in this world,
hmm
in this community. That's the reason why there's even this debate, because if they knew what the reason for these values are, there would be none of this confusion.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, the topic today is why Asian men make the highest hourly wage in the US. And guys, you guys know this. I've said it multiple times, right?
hmm
Asian men in general are the highest earners out of all the ethnicities.
mm
And of course, that is definitely one of our values.
hmm
Okay. But does that make you
High
a high
value.
value man?
Not
And I
all the
want to
time.
point this out, and I want my Asian brothers to listen carefully, because
hmm
this is going to come key on why we're still the most, least
Least
swiped
swiped.
on
hmm
dating apps, and why we're not, or, we're not desired. Okay.
hmm
But anyways, guys, let's begin.
You sifted through all the data, you read through the reports, there was a lot of numbers to go through. What did you find most interesting? What stuck out at you?
Well, what's really interesting, and so what they were looking at was median hourly earnings for full or part-time workers in the U.S. 16 years and over. And if you look at those in 2015, you might think that if they're breaking this down by racial and ethnic groups, and also by sex, and you might think, who's going to be at the top of this? White men, right? But it actually turns out that Asian men outpace white men.
By a huge margin, too. That's the green line at the top.
Yeah, so in 2015, Asian men, their median hourly earnings were $24, compared with $21 for white males. So that's significant.
I'm not quite surprised here because, pay has a lot to do with education. And the fact is that we have lots of highly educated Asian people. So what does this have to do with that?
Okay, so real quick, honey, just a stat, right? So
Yeah.
Asian men out earn white men, because the white man was kind of the standard, right?
hmm
So you'll notice that black men and Hispanic men were lower,
Lower.
than
Yeah.
white men, roughly about 50%, 60%, right?
hmm
Earnings. So for example, let's say a white man made $1,
hmm
a black man or a Hispanic man would make 60,
60,
50
50 cents.
cents
hmm
on that dollar, right? And then same thing with Asian men, they were at 120%. So if a white man made $1, then an Asian man would earn like $1.20, $1.30, right? That's kind of how that math works out, okay?
Yeah.
The news announcer said it has a lot to do with education,
hmm
okay? And she was saying that, she didn't throw any stats out, but she was
Yeah.
just saying in general, this stereotype is that Asian men are typically more educated than the other ethnicities. What do you think about those first two things?
Well, I know that with the Asian household, we are focused on education. That's one, right? Peer
Mhm.
pressure. Two, pressured from parents. Okay.
Yep.
So that's one of them, an Asian household. I mean, we don't, if you think you don't agree with me, then comment.
Yep.
And another thing is patience. We were taught to work hard and have patience. And I think that could be also another factor. Like we've got a lot of patience. We work hard, we bust our butt, we don't complain a lot. That's another thing. We don't complain and just keep busting our butt, and that's what we're taught to do. So that's another thing. Education, because we were sort of pushed into that, a lot of Asian families, and then, you know, especially when you're, you know, men in Pacific, because you are known to shoulder responsibility at a young age. Say, hey, you're the guy, and if you're the firstborn, you're going to be shouldering a lot of responsibility to take care of your family. So you got to be educated, and you got to earn money, and you got to bust your butt and don't complain, because you're going to have your kids to provide for, your wife to provide for, and patience is the sort of thing that they distilled on men.
Yeah. And
bust your butt.
so I'm going to elaborate on what my wife said, because thank you. You hit it nail on the head. I was going to say that, right? It was the whole we don't complain and bitch. Okay. But yes, at a very young age, all my Asian brothers and my Asian sisters know that we were taught the value of money, right? Because obviously a lot of us came over here, you know, obviously first generation, broke, poor from, you know, war torn countries, right?
Yep.
So just having nothing, right? And then being able to make money now, and you know what the value and importance of it when you didn't have it, okay?
Yep.
And then, of course, like I said, we were taught that, hey, we have to earn our keep. We're not better, right? We have to prove ourselves.
Yep.
And I don't know, this might come out sounding bad, but hey, you know what, you guys? I tell you guys the honest truth on this channel all the time, right? But I've tried to deal with other ethnicities in my businesses and in my jobs, hiring other ethnicities, okay? And I'm not going to cap to you guys, but I'll be 100% honest with you guys. When I try to hire black people, they're like the most entitled ethnicity. Okay. And then when it comes to education, right, there's a reason why the Hispanics and blacks, you know, obviously are lower on that chart. She's 100% right. It's the education level, the lack of being able to speak the same language, right? It's just a reality. Hey, you guys want to hate me for it? It's more, like I said, we're pointing out truths on this channel to help everyone. Yes, specifically our Asian culture. But hey, I'm hoping you guys face the reality as men and step up your game, regardless of what ethnicity you are. And that's just the truth, guys. That's what I've seen. Whereas you hire an Asian person, they're like, okay, cool. This is the income that, or the wage that you started me out. I'm going to earn that.
Yep.
Right. And it doesn't matter if it's a freaking hardworking job or not. They're going to prove themselves to earn that. Right. And like I said, the education does come into play, because then people are going to be like, well, Tuan, Hispanics are hard workers too.
Yeah.
It's that lack of communication. They haven't came over here and tried to learn the language. Right. There's still a lot of them, obviously. And then it's the type of jobs. Right.
Yep.
If you can't speak the language, how am I going to offer you a position that might be higher paying?
Yeah.
You're only going to be able to do the laborious, you know, jobs. And that's going to obviously limit your opportunities to make a higher salary. Okay. So like I said, 100% correct, honey. I just wanted to add to those things.
And we're not discriminating on any color, sex, creed, whatever else. It's just, as you can see right now, it's the fact on there. And we're not saying any race can't outdo another race. You just have to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
You just got to up your game.
These traits aren't ethnicity
No,
based.
it isn't.
These are just traits, right?
Change it.
You can go educate yourself. You can go learn the language.
Yeah.
Right? You can
Don't
you can learn how to be hardworking.
Yeah. Don't limit
Right?
yourself.
It's the mindset. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity. Okay,
Nope.
let's continue.
Agree.
Right. So of course, so Asians are more likely to have a bachelor's degree or more. They're also than whites, and they're also more likely to have an advanced degree than whites. But if you actually look at it, you can look at those 25 and older with at least a bachelor's degree, and those workers. And when you look at their median hourly earnings, you still actually see that Asians are ahead. It's about $35 in 2015 for Asian men compared to $32 for white men.
It's pretty striking, but one thing that you notice, of course, you can't help but notice, is the blue bars, which is women not earning as much as
In
their
every
male
case,
counterparts.
right, yeah.
Right, in every case. And in fact, if you look at it, of course, women were earning less than, say, white men and black men, right? Asian women?
Here we go.
Asian women, speaking on our behalf.
We have to lead the pack.
Actually, they earn more than black men.
So if you look at it in each, racial category, a racial or ethnic category, women are going to be earning less than men in terms of their median hourly wages, and also if you compare all of them to white men. But actually, what's somewhat interesting is white and Asian women actually outpaced black and Hispanic men. When you're looking at the overall, when you're looking at all those workers, 16 and over, that first bigger category.
But when we're, sorry,
Okay, so what do you think about that, honey? This whole, woman pay gap thing, right? And then, of course, obviously, the fact that even whether educated or not, even the educated ethnicities, Asians still earn more than the other ethnicities.
Like I said, all comes down to patience and working, busting your butt harder. We're taught to, hey, let's keep chucking away and, and don't complain.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what people do. And that's what most Asian cultures do. You don't complain, you bust your butt, and you're paid for what you earn,
And-
what you put out there on the plate, not for.
And when you
know.
don't complain, honey, before you even get the job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this is going to come to play. Before you even get this job, hypothetical job,
Mm-hmm.
because you're the type of person that wouldn't complain, what makes you think you have an advantage? What is it that makes you have an advantage over someone that might complain?
Because you're actually wanting to learn. You're actually wanting to learn.
But
how
besides
to do
that,
all the other stuff.
besides that, what would also maybe constitute that pay, right? The increased
Because
pay.
you'll stay longer. You actually stay longer on the job.
I'm sure all this
Right?
comes to play, but I'm trying to touch on. You would choose the type of job that the other ethnicities don't
Don't
want.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well,
That's what I'm trying to get. And
Okay.
because I want to hit that nail on the head too, because this is also the reason why men make more money than women. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about it all the time, right? Men goes into fields that pay higher earnings because they're willing to do those jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
STEM fields, right? Science, technology, engineering, math, right? A crab fisherman, right? A longshoreman, a construction worker,
Oh, I was gonna say that
an
too.
automotive technician, right?
Yeah.
Manual laborious jobs that most women
Women.
don't want to do,
And it's
right?
true.
And it's true, and that's the reason why we get paid more than you.
Mm-hmm.
We also work longer hours, right? Like my wife said, we also stick with it longer
Mm-hmm.
because we know as men we're the ones that have to provide, right? But compared to the other ethnicities, that's what I'm talking. We talk about it all the time, right? It's so I find it funny that the people who don't think they're racist makes these comments, but they'll say
Mm-hmm.
something like, "Well, if we got rid of all the Mexican people, who's gonna do our yard work?" Right? Like to say
Wow.
that only Mexicans will do the yard work, but in that, I guess, bigot statement, there's some truth to it, right?
Yeah.
So they're willing to do the jobs
Yeah. for
that the
less.
other ethnicities
Don't wanna
aren't
do.
willing to do. So my point is, because Asians are willing to obviously
But
work harder, complain less, we will not only choose a job that's going to pay us more, but there's going to be obviously a little bit more negative stuff that comes with it.
Yep.
But the other ethnicities will say, no, I don't want to do it because I don't want to put myself through that. But Asians will be like, okay, fine, I'll put myself through that. And then, of course, we'll stick out through it longer. And that's going to increase your freaking, your promotions, your
Yeah.
pay, and that type of stuff. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
When we're talking about Asian people, though, we're not
Yeah.
talking like they're all the same. We're talking about
Exactly.
so many different
Right.
countries.
Right, could be Korean
Right.
Bolivian or Chinese American, for instance.
Right, and that's one big caveat with all of this. Obviously, the Asian American population is very diverse, and if you're talking, about various different groups, Korean versus, the Hmong population, you're going to see don't have it in the data here, but it's likely that you're going to see a lot of different outcomes.
So what have things looked like in terms of the pay gap for these different groups over time?
So over time, what you see is that actually, so women, we're always comparing to white men here. So women in all of these different racial and ethnic groups have closed the gap of white women a lot more so than Black and Hispanic women. But what's interesting is actually Black and Hispanic men have not closed the gap with white men over time.
Wow.
So the women have made, in that sense, kind of the women have made more progress than the men.
You sifted.
Okay, so real quick, honey. So I didn't want to pause the video too often. So there's two topics, right? The first one was obviously how women, the Asian women,
Yeah,
right, have actually earned really close to almost what white men
men.
are earning, and they're actually earning more than Black men and Hispanic men.
Because they're progressing,
Okay. And then of course the second thing was obviously the fact that women in general have started to catch up to the
Yeah.
white man pay whatever standard that is.
Yeah.
But the Black men and the Hispanic men have not
Still,
caught up.
yeah.
Right? Whereas obviously Asian men have
Rising,
exceeded the
yeah.
white men, right? So what do you think about those two kind of aspects? That women have kind of started catching up,
Because
but for whatever
education-
reason, Black men and Hispanic men has, but our Asian brothers has.
Most of the the sisters, Asian sisters, have progressed, be more modernized, and are out there
But
working.
all women has too.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
the
I'm
key,
saying. 'Cause
guys.
they're working more and whatever else. They're not.
No, so what I'm trying to get at is that it's the feminism ideology, right, that has pushed this,
Yeah.
right? It's getting women into the workforce,
That's what I'm
right?
saying,
Or
working.
telling them that, hey, to be valued as a woman, and that's the reason why I want this. This comes back to what we're trying to promote this year, honey, right? Is that our Asian sisters fall into this as well, and as you can see, because they have those Asian traits of hardworking, not complaining, they're excelling compared to the other women,
Yeah.
right? But in general, overall, all women are doing this, right? So once again, I want to remind you guys, all women are feminists. All women are growing up in this modern ideology, especially when you're talking about the Western societies, UK, US, Canada, right? Even, I keep on reminding you guys, even homeland women, right? We talk about this on our other videos, right? Where even they are starting to get influenced by this feminism ideology, right? So don't be fooled that, women are no longer, modern. Like they're still
They're
going to be
modern.
modern, okay?
They're all modern.
And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, guys, is because you notice that even though these women have not, are catching up to the white man, but you notice the black man and the Hispanic man has not catching up to the white man. But this is where I want to talk to this video. Why is it then, right, that our Asian brother are still the least likely swiped on dating apps? If we're out earning and if value of money, finance is so important, why are black men and Hispanic men still getting more DMs than we are?
Can I answer that?
That's what I want to hit. Yes, go ahead.
You know why you guys aren't? Because you're so focused on making the income, but you're not focused on taking care of yourself, your health, the way you dress, the way you carry your mannerism, and whatever else. I mean, I've seen Asian brothers who make a lot of money. I've encountered people with all different walks of life. You show off your money, but you do not take care of your hygiene. You don't take care of the way you dress. You don't cut your hair properly. And what other things can I complain about, which I don't want to complain about, is you guys carry conversations that aren't very flattering. They're sort of, what I mean? Like,
I think you're getting there. There's a big thing you're missing as well. All those things my wife just said is 100% true. But there's another truth that we're missing that I want to let my Asian brothers know. And I keep saying it on our videos.
Yeah.
You guys have not realized the modern context. You haven't progressed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that is a good thing. I don't think men kowtowing to modern women is a good thing. But I want you guys to open your eyes that to get these women, to attract these women, to even have a shot with these women, you need to play the game.
Don't act like a brother. Don't act like a dad or an uncle. You got to be more.
You need to kowtow
outgoing.
to their feminism ideology. Why do you think the black man, why do you think the Hispanic man still can get women? Actually, black man obviously has,
Even if they don't even really have money.
because they some of them definitely believe it, but let's be honest, a lot of them too play the game, and what they do is they lie to women. I hate to say it, guys, but they're gonna say, hey, go girl, be a boss babe, right? Go girl, you do you. I like a strong independent woman, right? You see it in their music, you see it in their culture. As much as they might not believe it, and as much as they might not do it themselves in private, they still kowtow to these women. And because of that, they get the opportunity. And so what I'm trying to tell you guys is if you guys want to get yourself in the door, remember, it's all about probability. If you don't even have people in your inbox or replying to your DMs, how are you going to even play the game?
Yeah.
So my point is, like my wife was saying, you got to improve your values, right? Work out, dress, smell good. Those things are prerequisites of your value that's going to get you the entry into the door. But also, you have to have this understanding of what the current modern woman's mindset is so that you can play that game with them and let them know that, hey, I'm not a traditional Asian brother that's going to shame you for trying to be modern. Because otherwise, if you do that, if you put that in your profile, or if you say that on the very first date, they're going to get instantly turned off. And they're going to be like, oh, you remind me of my brother. You're going to remind me of my dad, right? Or this guy, hey, I just don't feel the vibe with him. You know, girls have all these like Morse code language
Yep.
to tell you that you're too traditional.
Yep. And trust
Okay.
me, most of these women, they will talk. They will talk and be like, oh, don't talk to this guy or so. You don't think so, but some do.
And they also talk about the ethnicities, right? Just like they say, oh, black men act this way, Hispanic men act this way, white men act. You don't think they go out there and tell each other that, oh, my, Asian brothers act this way?
Yeah.
Oh man, they're too traditional. They're freaking, they're boring. They're square. They're always trying to control me, right?
And you guys aren't. You guys are
Well,
not.
the point,
so
no,
let's change it.
honey,
I'm
you
just saying
are.
Asian brothers aren't that
No,
boring.
the
Let's
point-
change it.
No, you have the potential not to be boring, but the reality is you are fucking boring. You are still stuck in your ways. That's why you're not getting the outcomes that you want. It's our job, guys. 2023. It's an Asian man's job to change how the world perceives us, how the American society perceives us, right? And I just want to end on this, but I'll let you finish as well, honey. This is what constitutes a high value man. I know there's not a lot of people that watch this channel compared to some of the other big channel guys, but what constitutes a high value man, and we will repeat it again, is obviously your values that you are bringing to the table that's going to give the truth the best outcome. That's what the values are for, right? There's a reason why we put a monetary value, right? 150, 140, whatever that money, $200,000 a year, 6 foot tall height, muscular in shape, so I can protect and defend my family, right? Resources, house, food, so that way I can provide for my family, right? And then status and fame, that shows your competency, that shows your accomplishments, right? That's going to show that you have the values to lead to the best outcome for your children and your freaking family, right? And that's the thing. That is the values. I'm getting sick and tired of this RP community saying, oh, it's freaking corny to say what a high value man is, or what is a high value man. It's different for every ethnicity or different for every. No, it's not. It's standardized across the board, and you can see that women flock to it regardless of what ethnicity you are. If you're a high value man, I don't care if it's Asian, white, black, Hispanic, whatever, you have those values, women are going to flock to you, right? But you have to understand what it's for, because when you don't understand what it's for, you're going to get played. You're not going to use it for the right purpose, and then you're not going to get the outcomes that you want, right? Imagine if you wanted to get a job and this job was looking for different skill sets, and you got these skill sets, right? You went and acquired these skill sets, but then you didn't realize that those skill sets were used for this purpose of this job. You're going to go apply for the wrong job, and they're going to be like, hey, we're not looking for someone that knows how to catch fish. We're looking for someone that knows how to write Excel spreadsheets, right? So that's my point. You not only do you have to get your values high, you have to understand what the purpose of those values are for. Okay.
Yeah.
What you want to add anything to that, honey?
No, it's clear and simple. Like, you guys just got to up your game. You got to change it. Like we were telling you, things are going forward, not going backward. You're not gonna get
You're not gonna get traditional
those kind
women.
of traditional women or anything else wherever you are going. You're like, okay, let me go to Thailand. Let me go to. No, it's not gonna be. It's all over. If you got internet access and you got whatever else, everything is change now. It's going forward. It's not going backward. You're not getting your grandma's time, old days woman. You're going to get the modern woman.
I will say this.
You got to learn it.
I'll end it with this. The only way you guys are going to get a traditional woman is if you're a top tier man. A woman will hold to your frame. She will adapt to your frame. But if you're not that top tier guy, forget about getting that traditional woman. So anyways, guys, learn the truth, adapt, get the results that you want.
Debunk the lies.
Thanks for joining us this video. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Join us as we give you guys a glimpse into our lives, give you guys advice, hopefully give you guys entertainment value as well too, and provide you guys better outcomes.
Yes.